Hi, I'm Harrison Quinn, Field Service Engineer for Absolute Robot. Today, we will be going over proper rigging, install, and startup procedures for our X-Series sprue pickers. The first thing to do when mounting your new sprue picker is to install your custom-made riser. The holes on the outside will correspond to the bolt hole pattern on your injection molding machine. The holes on top will correspond to the holes on the sprue picker. Please make sure that the face of your platen is flush with this edge of the riser to ensure the sprue picker is aligned properly. Here is a top view of a fixed platen on an injection molding machine. This particular injection molding machine has 8 bolt holes. This is where you will mount your riser. Keep in mind, your injection molding machine may have 2 or 4 bolt holes depending on the bolt hole pattern. Once you have your riser mounted on your injection molding machine, it is now time to hoist your picker. Make sure you leave the controller, interface cable, and power cable as it is when you receive the picker. You're going to want to use one strap, and you're going to need to unbolt these bolts. Once you have your strap ready, wrap it under your strip axis, going around your swivel knuckle, making sure not to pinch any wires or hoses. Just like this. You are now ready to hoist your robot. Once you have your riser securely mounted to the fixed platen on your injection molding machine, you can now slowly lower your sprue picker on top of the riser. Once you have your riser in position, you can then bolt down all 6 holes, 3 on each side of the sprue picker, into the riser. We recommend using red Loctite and lock washers as well. For the purpose of this training video, we are using a test stand to make it easier to visualize the startup procedure on your sprue picker. Once you have it mounted to your riser, you can now remove the controller, your power cable, and your interface cable off of your Y-axis. The next step will be to hook up your sprue picker to power and air. You are now ready to hook up power to your robot. You have 2 options. You can either wire it directly into your injection molding machine, or, as we're doing for this demonstration, wiring it directly to a 120 volt wall outlet. Make sure all 3 connections are good and solid and will not come out of their terminals. You are now ready to plug this in and power up your sprue picker. Once you have power hooked up to your sprue picker, it is now time to hook up your controller. This controller is hooked up directly onto your motherboard, which is located inside your control panel. There are 2 securing screws on either side that need to be screwed in to ensure a good connection. Be careful not to over tighten the screws as you could damage some of the pins. Once you have your sprue picker connected to power, but before you power it up, make sure you plug in your interface plug. For this demonstration, we're using a machine simulator as we test all of our products before we ship them. Once your sprue picker has power running to it, has the controller plugged in and the interface plugged in, but before you connect air, you can now power on your sprue picker. When you power on for the first time, you will receive an e-stop alarm. Simply turn this clockwise to relieve the alarm. With your picker powered on, using a quick disconnect air fitting, you can now plug in air to your pressure regulator located on the side of your sprue picker. You'll need to have about half a megapascal in order to operate your sprue picker. To increase your sprue picker pressure, simply pull up on this knob and rotate clockwise. To decrease, rotate counterclockwise. Once you are satisfied with your pressure, push the knob back down. When it comes time to do a mold change, Our X-Series pickers are able to swivel out of the way in order for you to lower the mold into the machine. Simply operate this ratchet as you would any other ratchet, and the picker will begin to separate as you see here. Before you start to swivel, this black knob acts as a locking mechanism. Simply lift it up, and then you'll be ready to swivel your picker out of the way. Once your mold is set and you are ready to begin production, simply swivel your picker back in above the mold, make sure your knob locks in, and then tighten your ratchet. You are now ready to operate your picker. For this demonstration, we are using a simple mold on a hydraulic table to simulate an injection molding machine. When it comes time to align your sprue picker with your runner, it is recommended that you disconnect the air to adjust your limits accordingly. With your mold fully open, it is now time to adjust your forward limit. Rotate these two black knobs counterclockwise to loosen your forward limit. Once they are loose enough, your whole picker will slide forward. Once you are satisfied with the position, you can then tighten these knobs back down to hold that position in place. To adjust your rear limit, using a 5mm Allen, loosen the bolt on this rear hard stop and slide it forward until you reach your desired position. Make sure you tighten your bolt back down. After you do this, you will also need to remove this shipping bolt. This is also a 5mm bolt, and this is in place so your picker will not swivel while it is being shipped. Once your forward and rear limits have been set and you are satisfied, it is now time to adjust your vertical limit. To do this, hold onto your picker arm and pull the cylinder out, and your arm will begin to fall. Once it reaches its maximum limit, you can now take a few measurements to adjust your vertical limit accordingly. Once you have your measurements, raise your arm back up and lock it under this piston. Once you have your measurements and you are ready to adjust your vertical limit, simply loosen the two bolts on this hard stop located on the linear guide rail. And you are now able to slide this hard stop in the direction you need to. Once you are satisfied, tighten the bolts back up to ensure that it will be stationary. Once you have all of your limits set and adjusted to your mold, you are now ready to plug your air back in and begin operating your picker. Upon startup, your picker may be in Mandarin. To change this to English, press the button labeled Language. All of our sprue pickers come preloaded with 20 programs. Today, for this demonstration, we will be selecting a preloaded program. To do this, select Teach, select the number program that you want to load. In this case, we're going to select 05. Press Input to select where to save the program, and we are going to save it to 25. Select Input, and you are now at your program screen. Once you have selected a program, you can now step through it. Keep in mind while you step through the program that your picker will be moving. To do this, simply press the down button to execute each line of the program. Once you reach Action Over, your program has ended. Once you have stepped through your program and you are happy with it, you can now adjust your delay times. To do this, press the Stop button to return to the main menu. Now press the button labeled Time. This will allow you to go through each line of the program by pressing the down button and changing each delay time. To do this, simply keep the time highlighted you would like to change, enter the delay time you would like to change it to, and then press input. Your time delay is now changed. When you are happy with your program, you are now ready to run an auto cycle. To do this, simply press the auto button. Because we are using a simulator, I'm going to have to press the start button on our simulator. In your facility, you will be pressing the start button on your injection molding machine. Your picker should now take off and begin production.